Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on ChessCube. Going to kibitz another 5-minute game. Let's see what we have. 2200 versus 2200. So these guys have just started. What in the world went on here? It seems like it was a king pawn opening. E4, E5, and then the bishops were... the white bishop came to C4, the black bishop came to B4, captured on C3. That's why we have these crippled pawns on the C file. And now, wow, white is just lashing out here. Double threat. Bishop and queen were getting hit. And we already have quite a bit of spectators here. White is just up a piece at this point, no? This queen is ready to chop on H3, but where do we go with the king? H2 or G2? What would you do? I think king H2. Get it off of this open file. You stay out of potential checks. King H2. If knight F4, the knight can then play to G1. Okay, now the queen's you're gonna have to tolerate a queen here. However, after queen G4, that forces a queen exchange, does it not? Or even better, win a piece, right? So that knight retreat was just threatening. We'll be seeing probably queen G4 here. That knight retreat was actually just threatening queen takes knight. So this is going to be game over very quickly, I would assume. White is now up 2 pieces. They can force a queen trade after queen G4. So maybe resignation at any point. Actually, there's even another threat. Bishop to D5, and this knight he's a goner. So the queen's goner. This knight could be heading for the sidelines, I should say, any moment. So okay, queen takes queen, king H1, bishop G1. Actually, okay, bishop D5. That would win a piece. Black dodges that, but I don't think that black is going to be dodging things for too much longer. This knight really just boxes this knight out. Sometimes in my own games I try to just pair up some pieces and see, okay, by the positioning of my one piece, it kind of negates the positioning of another opponent's piece, and that's kind of how I reason this position here. The knight on H4 boxes out the knight on E7, so you kind of just cancel these two out. So really what's going on, it's kind of like 2 rooks, cancel out these 2, and it's just like this bishop is really the one that can kind of be, I guess, like the X factor, so to speak. And, well, I mean, when you're up a piece like this, it's kind of just not too difficult. So what do we have for black? What must black be considering here? There's really not any play going on. The knight is a tricky piece, but again, it can't really make any progress. G6, F5 covered. We could be seeing A4 just to get this A1 rook involved. The knight's looking to reroute to F6, but from there, where? H5. Ideally, if it could get to F4, that would be great. The unfortunate thing is, how do you even regroup your pieces? Right now, this pawn can fall. Actually, that's a move that would have been quite good. G6 would then be vulnerable. The bishop can eventually weave around to this F5 square. So maybe, okay, so knight there, and now I guess we're going to be seeing rook F6. Then again, this knight could also just play to F5 as soon as this rook plays to F6. Well, if it does, then just knight F5, and then the rook from F6 isn't doing a whole lot at all. So knight F5, knight F5. A knight on F4 is usually quite good, but I don't see really a way that black can coordinate their other pieces to come for any sort of an attack. So, okay, there might be some check. King H2, just king H2 very calmly. Knight F5. What more to really say from here? Knight F5, and actually, I mean, if you really didn't like having a knight on this square, you could maybe even just take it and still be winning in this position, but it's really just unnecessary. If you take the rook, pawn takes, and now this knight is going to have to find a new home. So I don't know if I would have done that, because I do like that home F5 for my knight, but this is just a matter of technique. So where's the good technique here? What do we do? So G6, as soon as this square is weakened, you're just going to see white slip back into that F5 square. With any move that you see, one good question that you could always be asking yourself is, what is that move now not doing? From its current position, it's clearly going to be doing something, but what is it now not doing as a result of your last move? That's a good question to maybe ask yourself in your own games. So this pawn is going to need some support, and this knight is kind of going into no man's land. What do we do here? How do we simplify the position? Okay, so rook f2 prevents the knight from getting back to this f4 square. I think king g3, let the king be responsible for guarding f3, and then maybe do some other things. So we have a little role reversal going on here. The king is now going to be the one that's going to be responsible for watching over the pawn, and the rook can hopefully do some other things. So white is winning objectively, and looking time-wise, that's looking good as well. 152 to 115. What is black thinking exactly? H5, H4. From this square, okay, it's looking to maybe come around to this back rank. You could always be extra careful and maybe just play the rook to f1, or even better yet. Okay, so rook to h2 doesn't even give black an opportunity to get this rook active on this h1 square and doing stuff in white's territory. So you try to keep things as simple as possible when you are up material. That's the case we have here, and because you really just don't want any problems. The more you simplify, the greater your advantage in material is going to show. So what does black really do? If you're going to avoid exchanges, you're going to have to play back to f4. 35 seconds for black. Hopefully these guys play one more game. This is one that I kind of just jumped right into, and before I knew it, one piece was lost, and then another one was lost with that queen h5, or excuse me, queen takes knight on h5. The thing that I didn't even see. So okay, the rooks are coming off. That extra piece is really starting to show itself. Maybe knight d5. Okay, we're going to see some knight checks. This is a passed pawn, so the king can't go crazy running around on the queen side. One piece is at least going to have to be devoted to watching over the h-pawn, and now the threat of capturing on c7 or exchanging another piece. Okay, we have to be careful here. Let's get this bishop maybe sneaking around, inducing some sort of a weakness. Actually, the bishop on e6 would prevent this type of advance, and now the king slipping over to f6. Well, I guess really it's just going to be a time issue more than anything. Black will end up losing before they end up getting checkmated. So, although black is really creating just a nice little path here, all of these dark squares are covered, so this king could just sneak in here. What's the solution here? Maybe induce a weakness. If we get this bishop, that's what white's trying. Okay, trying to make this pawn flinch, and maybe just a waiting move. Very good. Waiting move, and now this pawn, after it moves, the king will then have an opportunity to slip into that g4 square. So a request is being put out. Okay, one more game. 14 spectators or 13 spectators. And what do we have? e4, Sicilian. Let's see how this one progresses. e4, c5, knight f3, d6. Okay, so open Sicilian with d4. Knight takes, knight f6, most common, knight c3. And what will we have? Knight-orf. Okay, bishop d3. That's a little bit awkward. Okay, because that knight is now not protected. Okay, so what are we going to be seeing? Try in this sort of opening. You really want to pack a punch with every one of your moves. It's not a maneuvering type of game. You really want to do your best to take some sort of an initiative. And right now, this knight. There could be some serious issues already going on. This knight sitting on g4, this knight could maybe be hit, with queen b6, and if it were to move, we'd have queen f2 mate, but no. Okay, e5 striking in the center, but at the same time, d5 is now open to this knight, which is now hitting the queen, so white makes good use of that d5 square, hits the queen. Not a move that really, this is a serious blunder. Is white going to see knight takes queen here? Let's see, or not. Okay, so knight takes bishop. This is an interesting game. Okay, so it's blitz. These are the things that happen. Let's see if see how this is going to progress. So what do we have? We have two knights now hitting the queen. This is a rare occasion. the black queen is getting hit by the knight on e7 and d4. How many times can you say you've seen that happen? Okay. What's black thinking of here? Are they reflecting on their little mistake, I guess? I guess maybe we should go and watch one more, since that one happened so fast. So hopefully the queens aren't going to be captured that quickly. Okay, so e4, e5, maybe a Ruy Lopez. Let's try one more game here. Okay, so yeah, bishop b5, Ruy Lopez, d3, calm move, just watching over, e4. I think okay, so c3. I think in that first game we were going over, the knight maybe was the one who played to this square, and that's why we had the doubling of c pawns. But this is a different approach, and now this pawn is going to be taken for free. Okay, in other instances, taking on c6 and then grabbing this pawn wouldn't be good, because maybe black could get this pawn back, but it's clearly supported at this point. And white is up a clear pawn, e5. e5, okay, since we have, looking at the bishops that are remaining now on the board, both sides having just one bishop each, white, well, actually they're opposite color bishops, so I was going to say that, you know, if they were the same color bishops, both on dark squares, you're going to want your pawns then on the opposite color, but we don't have that going on. And now, actually, this is a serious mistake. Queen h4 is a strong move, hitting both f2 and h3, so we have to, as white, make the best of a bad position. So which move do we go with? Okay, so queen takes pawn with check, and only then react to the threat of pawn takes knight. So, or actually, no. Actually, maybe might we see knight takes? Actually, if knight takes, I think then... Actually, what's better? Knight takes f2? Knight takes f2 or queen takes f2 check? This is more forcing. The king only has one response, king h2. What would be the follow-up? I'm not quite sure. If knight takes f2, on the next turn, the knight can then take on d3, regardless of the queen being able... You know, even if the queen is guarding this square, the knight can still take, because the queen is then hitting this e1 rook. So knight takes d3, and we have all of a sudden black coming back. Or even, look at that, an even more forceful move. Knight takes h3 with check. This rook is going to fall unless we have king f1 from this position. And it seems like that's the move to maybe be going with. Otherwise, you're going to be losing an exchange on the white side. So really, white had underestimated this queen coming out, and in coordination with the knight focusing on f2 and h2, black all of a sudden finds themselves back in the game and even up a pawn now at this point. And this rook, I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe saw this rook slipping in by way of a4 and swinging over to g4. This bishop is going to be a really, really nice piece. It could always find itself on e6 and really lock up the position. It kind of just strings the whole position together, guards a base point on f7, and this is maybe really the only point that white could even possibly think to attack. But now the more pressing issue is, of course, the queen is being hit. So you can't go too far with the queen, because this knight and queen are coordinated on an f2. Where is there some sort of a knockout? Might we see actually f6, trying to get this big bad rook involved? Maybe f6 and then possibly pawn takes, and then to be discovered check. Or just, you know, actually what to do with this knight, right? The knight is cut off from going to either of these squares, the queen and bishop battery on this c1 to h6 diagonal. So after pawn takes knight, bishop takes. This is a strong move, I believe. Rook on a to e8, getting ready to do a little rook lift. Rook e6, and then before you know it, not only are you going to have to be coping with the queen and bishop, but now this queen rook by way of e8, e6, and then g6 giving check. This is going to be something that's going to be very, very difficult to defend against, I would think. What more is there? I mean, from this position, we're going to be seeing rook e6 pretty much no matter what. Or f6. Okay, wow. So now this rook, you kind of have to keep things closed, but actually, could white even keep things closed? Look at this. Is there Is there a better placement for all of these black pieces? What a fantastic position we have here. F takes E, discovered check. Every single one of the black pieces is doing something very dangerous. And look at these clowns here on the queen side. Just one single slip up has essentially led to this really bad position for white. They were up a pawn initially, and now these guys, they're just hanging out over here. They don't want any part of the defense on the king side, because really I don't see any. Actually, king g2 and then bishop f3. This is going to allow for at least a win of a queen, I would think. Is there some just quick checkmate? Where's the knockout move? Bishop f3, check. Well, actually, I mean the queen's getting hit here, so I think maybe just how about queen h5? Queen h5 says I'm still in a superior position. I'm going to kill you very quickly, and there's nothing you can really do about it, is there? Pawn takes pawn is still threatened. Queen getting ready to come to f2 at some moment to give check. This is looking very, very bad, and that's the ball game. So I'm going to actually stop there. That was a pretty wild game, and hopefully, as always, you got something out of it. Take care.